Hey there, adventurers! Today we've got something truly special for you. We're diving headfirst into 3 epic D&D stories straight from the treasure troves of Reddit. But before we dive into the heart-pounding tales of Dungeons and Dragons, make sure you hit that subscribe button, ring the notification bell, and like this video so you never miss a moment of the action.
It was an accident, I swear. Back in the old days of first edition AD&D, I played occasionally with a friend we'll call Friendly. Friendly was a forever DM who couldn't say no to new players. He had a ton of friends, and most of them were pretty new to gaming, and if they wanted to play, by golly, he was going to make space at the table for them. He would never turn away someone who wanted to play, which is how he wound up with a 14-person adventuring party. The party was a rambling mess, riven with factions based on character alignments and player friendships, but it had held together long enough for everyone to be in the neighborhood of about 9th level as they quested to stop an evil wizard from unleashing a magical apocalypse. Players came and players went, so the group was rarely at full strength, but lately the game had been approaching a big deal phase of the whole campaign, and everyone was showing up regular. Friendly invited me to drive down from the next city over to be a part of this next bit, which he was very excited about. So I dusted off my drop-in character for that campaign and leveled them up to where the rest of the party was and went down to play. I knew some of the players a little, most of them not at all, and of the ones who had ever met my character, they'd only met them for 1 or 2 sessions, months and months ago. Now it's important to know I'm playing a first edition jester, which was kind of like a modern bard in some ways, but it wasn't a well-known class back then. Crucially, no one in the group, realized I had some thief skills, like being able to pick pockets. There's some minor encounters as the party explores some ruins that used to belong to a magic academy the big bad wizard destroyed, some role play, and then we make camp for the night. Friendly reminds everyone to mark off rations, and I realize I don't have any. I pass him a note, embarrassed at my lack of preparation but willing to own it. He passes back the note asking what I want to do. I let him know that I'll lift a day's rations off someone random. Yes, I know, I caused this, but in my defense, I had no idea 1 day's rations would start so much. No one else in the party caught this, as they were all role-playing or just chatting. Eventually, Friendly calls everyone to order and says, almost in passing, that the ranger is short 1 day's rations. And that's when it started. The ranger instantly assumed that the assassin had stolen his rations. There was apparently some history going on there. He squares up and belligerently accuses the assassin of shenanigans. He's backed up by the druid and a minotaur fighter, but the assassin is not without friends of his own, and his buddies line up to try and back down the ranger and his posse. Then the paladins, 2 of them, get involved to try to break everything up. It might have worked if the assassin hadn't gotten tired of it and just flat-out attacked the ranger. All hell broke loose. The fight lasted hours, and Friendly, who was the world champion proponent of not saying no to players, just adjudicated it all. Hours later, 2/3 of the party is dead, including the ranger and the assassin. The lead paladin is missing an arm. And me? Everyone forgot about me. I was new. Well, sort of. I'd only been to a few sessions over the whole campaign. No one knew me that well or had any feelings toward me, positive or negative. When everything started, I told Friendly I was hiding, which I did with my thief skills, and after that, people seemed to forget I was there. So after this Armageddon, I was the only one left unscathed, and one of the few left alive. The denouement is boring enough. I helped the survivors back to the nearest settlement to regroup and heal. I then told Friendly I was going to leave all my gold for them, along with a note explaining my role in everything and apologizing, and then skip town. I later heard that the whole group suffered a TPK trying to fight a subordinate big bad, but I wasn't there for that, so that one wasn't my fault. A horror story about a player. I will call him Discreetly for reasons that will become clear. What made Discreetly so much of a nightmare was that despite seeming like a regular dude who had a basic grasp on reality, when he was playing a character, he seemed to lose all sense of the concept of consequences. First example, I'm running a World of Darkness game set in the modern day. Discreetly has, following a tip, spotted a distinctive van he's been looking for, parked street side downtown in a large, busy city around lunch hour. In other words, people asterisk everywhere asterisk. I ask discreetly what he will do, expecting him to stake the van out or look in the windows or something. I climb on top of the van. I say, "Pardon, what?" He confirms that he will climb on top of the van and lie down. His plan, if it can be called that, was to hang on to the van when it departed, so he could see where the people who owned it lived. He seemed utterly baffled when a police officer wandered by and asked what he was doing, if this was his van, and so on, like he never imagined anyone would see him up there. Second example, same World of Darkness game, same character as the van surfer. Discreetly had maxed out his character's fame and wealth. He owns a ton of property in the area, his picture in the papers all the time. He's an incredibly well-known personality in the city, and even that's underplaying the amount of fame he bought. But discreetly wants to infiltrate the local drug smuggling organization since they seem to be connected with some of his enemies. His plan? Cutting off his ponytail and absolutely nothing else, not even changing his very distinctive style of dress. Seemed shocked when he was immediately recognized. Last example, and here we get to the name. This is, as has been mentioned, a World of Darkness game. Discreetly is playing a werewolf. He's driving along and realizes he's being tailed. So he drives out to a remote road and pulls into a gas station and then goes inside and takes up a position right next to the entry. This being a typical convenience store, the doors and front are glass so he can absolutely be seen from outside. I ask what his plan is, and he says, "When the guy comes in to see where I've gone, I'm going to gut him, discreetly." I blink, shocked. Gut him? And then he says, very defensively, "Discreetly." This was during the day, at a gas station that wasn't super busy but wasn't abandoned or anything, and as noted, anyone pulling into the parking lot would easily be able to see him from outside. And of course, to gut the guy in question, discreetly or otherwise, would require turning into werewolf form in the middle of the gas station that is presently full of customers. That was 25 years ago, and I will never understand what was going on in that guy's head. He played with the group for a few months, and everyone else was equally baffled by him. Eventually, we stopped asking him to show up, and he stopped asking about the games, and that was that. But I will always remember. I gut him discreetly. This story is a little long, and I also don't really talk to this friend anymore as they moved away, but I still consider the both of us on good terms. This story just happens to be really memorable for me. For context, my friend, who I'll call D for short, had a small habit of lying about their age online at the time to get into indie projects his online mutuals were making at the time. I, 12 at the time, F, tried to not follow in their footsteps, but I will admit I joined in their schemes sometimes when they mentioned stuff relating to animation and art, so I am just as guilty for this. Anyway, we're both in middle school, another friend has moved away, so they're the only friend I have. Summer begins as we transition from 7th to 8th grade, yes, I'm an American, and they tell me about this amazing D&D campaign that they joined with a cool DM and great players. I'm interested immediately, as I was a bit sheltered and pretty socially awkward, but absolutely obsessed with Dungeons & Dragons, thanks to its storytelling elements. I feel comfortable since D is a part of the campaign, and ask if it's possible to spectate their sessions for ideas, and the DM says yes. So I join what is the second Discord server I've ever joined and listen in for like 2 sessions. However, one of the players went dark and disappeared, leaving a spot open. Then it went as usual. I decided to jump in as my first campaign, thinking D would be there to play with me. And they do help me with making my character and all that, which I still appreciate to this day. And I join in as a swashbuckling rogue, which was a bit dumb considering the party was on land. And I enter my first session. One problem though, D isn't there. No sweat, I thought to myself. I can handle playing on my own for today. Just pretend you're at middle school with these kids. Second problem, these aren't kids. It's late 20s to middle 30s men I am playing with. And I didn't know until the DM turned on his camera one day. I guess it's on me for not asking the age of the party, but that also would have been really weird, and I seriously thought D was playing with kids our age. But anyways, D just stopped showing up for the rest of the time I was there. And God, was I panicky. I'm pretty sure I played on pure nerves alone, so I didn't embarrass myself. Once, when Discord added the stream from phone option, I was scared shitless after accidentally turning on my camera. The party also just didn't feel friendly sometimes. They'd talk shit about other party members when they weren't in call and then act nice when the person showed up. But I never left out of hope that D would come back one day and play, but that hope died when the DM finally decided to kill off their character and move on. I only realized they weren't fit for me after I rolled up a secondary character that might fit the plot more, which just made me feel more nervous, TBH. Now I'm 18, and I still play D&D, but only with super close friends, which is really hard to do since a lot of them are homebodies and a bit difficult to match schedules with. I have like 3 campaigns that are all homebrew, just gathering dust. I keep thinking about hosting an online campaign so I can actually play again, but this experience just rolls back to the front of my brain whenever I think about doing so. TLDR, I join a campaign thinking everything will be great with friend. Campaign ends up a little less than decent, and friend jumped ship before we could even play at the same time.